Hello, my name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and this is my channel. Have Roots, Will Travel. I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Most of my videos will be about travel or understanding various localities. In this special series, I'm focusing on a part of Quebec Canadian history that is near and dear to my heart. The story of the Filles du Roi, or the King's Daughters. In this series, I'll be focusing on individual biographies so that we can get to know as many of these amazing women as we can. Please let me know in the comments below if there's one video in particular you are interested in, and I'll try to move it to the front of the line. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on that notifications alert so you'll know when I post new content. Let's get started. First, there was the program, Les Filles du Roi. I have created a video called Les Filles du Roi, the program. So I urge you to look at that video to get a better understanding of the program and how it worked, how your individual Fille du Roi might have, where she came from, that sort of thing, the details, the nitty-gritty of how this program worked. Today, we're going to be focusing on a lady named Anne Perreault, and she happens to be my 8 times great-grandmother. Let's find out about Anne. Anne was born in November 17th, 1647 in the parish of Saint-Sulpice in Paris, France. Her father was Jean Perreault and her mother was Jeanne Ventat. The church is the second largest church next to after Notre Dame. And it's on the east side of the Place Saint-Sulpice in the Latin Quarter of the 6th arrondissement. Now, because she was baptized in 1647, Anne would have been baptized in the new church because I believe it was consecrated in 1646. I could be wrong, but this is how the church looks today. Now, the 6th arrondissement is definitely an arrondissement that is very popular, and it is very educational and cultural, and it is without a doubt one of the creme de la creme areas in Paris. It really is one of the fashion statements places of the time. I don't know if that's how it was in Anne's time, but I suspect it was a very cultural and historic place. By 1669, Anne had lost both parents, and she embarked on a new life in New France. She embarked on Le Jean-Baptiste, and she arrived in Quebec City on July 30th, 1669. She was 23 years old. The groom she selected was Pierre Blais, and he came from a region of France known as Aquitaine, and he was born about 1641. His parents were Mathurin Blais and Françoise Penigaud, and he arrived in Canada in 1664 as a contract worker. The ship he was on was the Black Holland. So he was in Canada for a few years, about 5 years, before, taking a bride, so to speak. But the good news is he probably had a house ready for her. And then they were married. They were married on the 12th of October, 1669 at the Saint Famille parish on the island of Orleans. The parish of Saint Famille had been founded in 1661, but it was not until November of 1669 that the land was granted to build a new church. I'm assuming it means that Pierre and Anne were married informally or formally at the mission or building where the pastor resided. And I found this picture. This is kind of an illustration of perhaps the kind of place where they would have gotten married. And this is an example. This is the actual marriage contract, marriage record that we have from the church records. Now, where did they settle? They settled in the island of Orleans, and they would eventually settle in Saint-Jean, the part of Saint-Jean. So they started their life out in Saint-Famille, and they ended it in Saint-Jean. Now let's talk a little bit about Île d'Orléans. Let's review. Île d'Orléans is located in the St. Lawrence River, about 3 miles east of downtown Quebec City. The land was one of the first parts of the province of Quebec to be colonized by the French, and a large percentage of French Canadians can trace their ancestry to the early residents of this island. The island has been described as the microcosm of traditional Quebec and as the birthplace of Francophones in North America. Officials later changed the name to Île d'Orléans in honor of the second son of King Francis I, Henri II, the Duke of Orleans. The island was also known as La Grande Île, Sainte-Marie, and Saint-Laurent for certain periods in the 17th and 18th centuries. So be on the lookout when you're looking at records. Early French settlers were attracted to the island because of the fertile soil. In 1661, the first parish of Saint-Famille was founded, followed by another 4 parishes in 1679 and 80. By 1685, there were 1,205, mostly French inhabitants, and they counted the livestock, 917. You can see on the map on the bottom left of the island, the island and its proximity to Quebec City. I also included a map of the regions. If any of you are doing research in the area, it's important to note the various villages of Île d'Orléans. And this is the Saint Jean Church. It was not built until 1734, but it still stands today. So I wanted to show it to you as, you know, this is what their descendants, the descendants of Anne and Pierre, would have been married in this church and baptized their children and that sort of thing. Now I was able to get the actual land that he got. He had section 30 and 31. And this is the plan, and his land was right there by the Fleuve de la Saint-Laurent, the St. Lawrence River. Really prime, prime location, if you will. I can't wait to visit Île d'Orléans. I've never been, and this is an area of Quebec that I need to see. And so do you. Now, let's talk about the family that they grew, okay? They had 9 children, not 6 of whom made it to adulthood. Their first son, Martin, died at 11. Their second died at birth. Their third child married Françoise Baudouin and had 12 children, 10 of whom made it to adulthood. Their fourth child, Marie-Anne, who is my 7 times great-grandmother, married Jean-Baptiste Guillemette, and they had 10 children, 4 of whom made it to adulthood. Their fifth child, Antoine, married Jeanne Lamy and had 4 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. After her death, he remarried Marie-Ambroise Fournier, with whom he had another 5 children, of whom all made it to adulthood. Their 6th child, Joseph, died at 18 months. Their 7th child, Jacques, married Louise Angélique Cartier, with whom he had 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Upon her death, he remarried Marie-Jeanne Louise Sévigné, with whom he had 4 more children. 7 children, 6 of whom made it to adulthood. Their 8th child, Jean, married Geneviève Martin, with whom he had 7 children, 5 of whom made it to adulthood. Upon her death, he married Marie-Jeanne Sénéchal, and with whom he had 1 child, and who made it to adulthood. Their 9th and final child, Marguerite, married Étienne Lamy, with whom she had 8 children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. That's a huge family, a lot of descendants. Sadly, Anne died, giving birth to Marguerite, her final child, at the age of 45. Pierre would remarry the next year and marry Elisabeth Royer, who was 30 years his junior, with whom he had 5 more children, 4 of whom made it to adulthood. Pierre passed away suddenly at the age of 61 in 1700. And for their efforts, both of them are on the monument as one of the pioneering families. So Anne Perreault is listed, as is Pierre Blais. And so again, this is something that we need to see. And with that, we end another Filles du Roi biography. I can't wait to see what's next. Until then, I will say au revoir.